communications is still down.
Take him away. Lock him up in the officer's mess.
Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington are in the same Navy, but they're not on the same side in deciding whether to fire nuclear missiles at Russia in Crimson Tide. One of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert, along with Hugh Grant's latest comedy and Marissa Tomei's latest film. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Our first movie is Crimson Tide, and this is a terrific, absorbing, well-made thriller about a battle of wills between the captain of a U.S. nuclear submarine and his second-in-command. The stakes are high, guess wrong, and they start World War III and kill 1 billion people. The movie stars Gene Hackman as the grizzled veteran captain and Denzel Washington as his smart but less experienced second-in-command. When Russian rebels seize a missile base, the Americans get orders to prepare to launch. Then a hit from an enemy sub knocks out their communications gear before they can get official confirmation of the order. Hackman wants to launch anyway. Denzel Washington opposes that decision.
Mr. Hunter, we have rules that are not open to interpretation, personal intuition, gut feelings, hairs on the back of your neck, little devils or angels sitting on your shoulders.
Captain.
We're all very well aware of what our orders are and what those orders mean. They come down from our commander-in-chief. They contain no ambiguity. Mr. Hunter, I've made a decision. I'm captain of this boat. Now get up!
The situation quickly develops into a standoff.
Cobb, arrest this man and get him out of here!
Under operating procedures governing the release of nuclear weapons, we cannot launch our missiles unless both you and I agree.
Cobb, what are you waiting for?
Sir, this is expressly why your command must be repeated. It requires my assent. I do not give it. And furthermore, you continue upon this course and insist upon this launch without confirming this message first.
Keep the boat.
Backed by the rules of precedent,
Captain, commanding officer of the USS Alabama.
Regulations.
I order you to place the XO under arrest on charge of Navy regulations.
The tension builds as the officers of the submarine divide into 2 bitterly opposed camps.
I have the con. Give him a missile key.
Crimson Tide looks like a thriller and it plays like a thriller, but what distinguishes it are its ideas. In the high-pressure world of a submarine in crisis, the movie stages a debate that gets to the very heart of nuclear deterrence. The paradox is that nuclear weapons only deter war as long as you don't use them. Yet the delay could mean the destruction of your own side. At the end of Crimson Tide, somebody says that neither side was right and neither side was wrong. I'm not quite sure that's correct, but certainly Tony Scott's direction doesn't stack the deck and make only good guys and bad guys. What's fascinating is how persuasive both arguments, both Hackman's and Washington's, really are.
Well, you know, you mentioned Tony Scott, and I think he's the real hero of this picture, the director of the film, because I frankly saw where this picture was going. I mean, you've got this classic situation.
You mean you intuited that World War III might not break out?
More than that, I knew the way the picture was going to work these 2 guys, and we don't have to get in it. And I didn't anticipate, frankly, the cornball ending thing at the end. There's a salute there that I thought was unmotivated. But at any rate, what the director does is take us inside this boat, and we are really there. Like we were in that great submarine film, Das Boat. We are taken in here, and through dolly shots and steady cams, we feel we're a part of this thing. The claustrophobia of it, the energy of it, that I liked very much. Tony Scott is the director of Top Gun. He could do it in the sky. He can do it underwater.
He's good with big machines.
Yeah.
And once again, he has the same problem they had on Hunt with Red October. Exterior shots of submarines underwater always look like large gray bathtubs.
Yeah.
They should just never, ever go outside the submarine, because when they stay inside, you're right, he creates an environment where all of these people are doing their jobs so quickly, so well, under such pressure that it's really riveting.
And the script is smart because it doesn't dumb it down and explain everything. So you hear all the dialogue, you can't figure out what they're saying, but it works because of the energy.
There's even some dialogue contributed to this movie by Quentin Tarantino, who threw in all that stuff about the Silver Surfer and Star Trek and everything.
Oh, that's good. Okay, okay, next movie. And our next film is A Little Princess, a wonderful children's film that caught me completely by surprise. I wasn't familiar with the story on which it was based or the young Mexican director who made it. Both are excellent. The princess in the title is a little girl named Sarah, raised in India, where she has been told all manner of magical stories, and when her father is assigned to fight in World War I, he brings Sarah to a very strict boarding school in New York, and his goodbye scene is a gem. Liesl Matthews is Sarah, Liam Cunningham, her father.
What are you doing? Memorizing me by heart.
Oh, I already know you by heart.
Once in school, Sarah begins to break down the strict discipline of the place by, for example, improvising her own wild story in place of the dull one she's reading in a book.
But when I marry, it will be for love. And with that, Charlotte ran from the house. Waiting outside for her was the handsome stable boy Pierre, whom Charlotte secretly adored. Together, they escaped to the coast and quickly set sail for the island of Tahiti. But when they were halfway there, their ship was attacked by a band of pirates.
The villain in the piece, the school's strict headmistress, played beautifully by the fine character actress Eleanor Braun.
But then, when all seemed lost, a group of mermaids appeared and rescued us.
What are you doing?
I couldn't bear to see Charlotte marry that awful man, so I imagined a different ending.
You imagined it.
Don't you ever do that, Miss Minchin? Believe in something just to make it seem real?
Little Princess is based on a story by Frances Hodgson Burnett, who wrote The Secret Garden. Director Alfonso Cuarón from Mexico is a real find in his first American film, jumping all over the world with this story, mixing fantasy scenes with broad emotion. The last time I was surprised like this was the family film was with Julian Armstrong's Little Women at the end of the year. A Little Princess, I think, is going to please the same audience of children and their parents.
You know, Gene, frequently, I'm sure you have the same experience I do, of people saying, why don't they make better family films?
Right.
And by that, I think the adults often mean films I can enjoy as well as the kids.
Yes, or even more.
Yeah, yet when they do, unless it has the Disney title on it,
Right.
people don't have the imagination to take a chance. Maybe they've been burnt in the past. This same author, Burnett, has inspired now with her books 2 movies, The
Right.
Secret Garden and now A Little Princess,
Right.
that are among the most entertaining and magical
Absolutely.
and imaginative films
Yes.
that you could hope for, and I just hope that people take advantage of that.
Well, I shudder when I speak, and I think you do too, the word family film,
Yeah.
or great for children, because that just seems to be death. I enjoyed it. I don't talk down when I review a picture like this.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed it myself. If my kids never saw it, and of course
Yeah.
they will, it would be fine.
Now, a lot of these movies are sold by ads on television. In the
Right.
same period as Little Princess is coming out, there's a movie coming out about a cute little pig named Gordy.
Yeah, it'll outgross this
It'll
picture
out-
10 to 1.
Yeah, people will see the cute little pig on television. And somehow, maybe the images from A Little Princess won't be as compelling, but without reviewing Gordy,
Oh, let's
maybe,
review it.
Let's review it. Go for the princess and not for the pig.
Hey, there's an advertising line. When we come back, Angelica Houston has been faithfully waiting for a reunion with her husband for 20 years in the romantic comedy The Perez Family.
I know that face anywhere.
Are you sure it wasn't your husband, Mrs. Perez?
Well, he's not my father. If he says so, he's lying.
He don't say nothing. He don't talk, which is good for the sponsor. Husband, wife, grandfather, that's a family.
Marissa Tomei and Alfred Molina are boat people who have just been released from Castro's Cuba in that scene from the Perez Family. Now they're being temporarily held in the Miami football stadium, but they can get American sponsors more quickly if they pretend they are a family, even though they just met during the historic 1980 boat lift. Meanwhile, Molina's wife, played by Angelica Houston, has been faithfully waiting for him for the 20 years he's been in prison. But just as she's about to be reunited with him, her heart starts to flutter for a newcomer into her life, a law officer played by Chaz Palminteri.
I love scuba. You scuba dive?
So far only in the deep end of the college.
Come on, you got the Keys out there, you got the Caribbean.
And sometimes it's hard for me to do the things I want to do.
Of course, at the same time, Tomei and Molina are growing closer together also, although her first love will always be John Wayne.
He's dead. John Wayne is dead. At first I thought... Well, I knew Elvis was dead.
Elvis Presley's dead? So many assassinations.
Molina is kept apart from his real wife by the machinations of the comedy plot and supports himself with his fictitious wife by selling flowers.
When I stop the car in front, you go to the car back, okay? You can do it. Like this.
Don't you dare walk like that for another man. Come back here. I'll buy all you flowers myself.
What makes the movie appealing is its background story. These Cuban Americans provide a fresh look at their newly adopted homeland, and it's interesting that the movie was directed by Mira Nair, a woman born in India who is now an American, and his previous movie was Mississippi Masala, about a love affair between a Mississippi black man and the pretty daughter of an Indian motel owner. Nair likes to put hearts and cultures on a collision course, and I enjoyed her doing that in the Perez Family.
I did too, and actually, I think it's almost like these characters are instruments for just local color, and I enjoyed it on that basis. I mean, the dialogue that comes out of Angelica Houston's mouth, where she's talking about where she goes to a night school, it's very real. I mean, these love stories that we're getting in Hollywood are, things are said to move the plot along. Here, it's just life, and it is bountiful in this picture, and I really enjoyed it.
I like some of the little details, like, for example, when they're put into the Miami Stadium, and then the Dolphins are practicing there.
Yes, exactly.
You know, so you have the pro football guys on the field and the refugees in the stands, and then they get put in this rectory of a local church and sent out to sell flowers on the street. Well, those kind of details
it's in the details
are as interesting, really, because a love story is
I agree with you.
Pretty predictable.
It's the details that make this picture special. Coming up next, Hugh Grant from 4 Weddings and a Funeral plays an embattled surveyor in the comedy with the strange title, The Englishman Who Went Up a Hill but Came Down a Mountain.
It's just a measurement, and in no way should detract from the beauty of, or indeed your affection for this hill.
Hugh Grant has bad news for the people who live in a small town in Wales in the cleverly titled comedy, The Englishman Who Went Up a Hill but Came Down a Mountain. The problem, and I like this story premise, the town's beloved mountain, as measured by Hugh Grant and his associate, is only 984 feet high. That's 16 feet short of the 1,000 mark, the minimum standard for a mountain to be noted on a map. The townfolk hope to get Hugh Grant and his colleague, played by Ian McNeice, to resurvey their hill by delaying them in town.
I'm afraid I don't know the first thing about motor cars.
Unfortunately, neither do I.
Aha! I think, gentlemen, I found the problem.
Another ruse? They throw at him a loose woman played by Tara Fitzgerald.
Sorry. Could I, possibly have a glass of beer?
Do I look like a barmaid?
Barmaid? Never. I'm surprised at you, Mr. Anson, making a mistake like that. This is our honored guest, Miss Elizabeth.
This film reminded me of another classic film about a small town intrigue in the British Isles, Local Hero. Both are whimsical, clever entertainments that really give you a sense of time and place. The Englishman Who Went Up a Hill but Came Down a Mountain. You won't forget the title, but people, I think, again, Roger, they may not rush to see this picture.
Well, I hope they do. I enjoyed it, too. I know the marquees are going to have a lot of fun. It'll probably be Hugh Grant, Englishman, is what it will say. And
or Hill Mountain.
What I liked about the English and British and Welsh quality of this film is that everybody takes it all so seriously. If this had been the same plot had been told about some mountain in Kentucky or Tennessee, the director probably would have been tempted to make all the characters funny.
Exactly.
Everyone in this movie is very solemn, including the local clergyman.
Right.
To him, it's an ecclesiastical matter. I mean, if this mountain isn't 1,000 feet tall, there may not be a God or an afterlife. His entire life may have been destroyed, and he prays in church on Sunday and then gets his whole congregation involved, and it's really deadly serious, and that's what makes it so funny.
It's a well-done script, a terrific premise that's well realized. When we come back, a clash between an ambitious kid and the Hollywood boss from hell in Swimming with Sharks.
There have been a lot of movies about Hollywood, but few so wounded and angry, so concerned with settling old scores as a new comedy named Swimming with Sharks. The movie is about the way the powerful studio executives can essentially treat people like dirt, and their victims put up with it because they hope to become as powerful as their bosses someday. The movie stars Frank Whaley as Guy, the new executive assistant to a powerful producer named Buddy Ackerman, played here in a perfectly modulated performance by Kevin Spacey.
You have no brain. No judgment calls are necessary. What you think means nothing. What you feel means nothing. You are here for me. You are here to protect my interests and to serve my needs. So while it may look like a little thing to you, When I ask for a packet of Sweet and Low, that's what I want.
There are consolations. A beautiful and successful female producer played by Michelle Forbes wants to know Guy simply because he's Buddy's assistant.
As much as I hate it, I need Buddy. I need my calls to find their way onto his phone sheet. I need my scripts to go home with him on the weekends. In short, I need you on my side.
As time wears on, the sadomasochistic relationship between the two men grows more practiced and refined.
Why can't you show a little backbone, huh? Huh?
I don't think the yelling is necessary.
Gotta be a little more thick-skinned, you turd. You gotta be a man to do this job.
Finally, Guy snaps and goes for revenge. Kevin Spacey does a good job of portraying an egotistical monster in Swimming with Sharks, but the movie isn't really about how he behaves. We know about people like him. It's about Guy, the kid who puts up with it. Swimming with Sharks was written and directed by George Huang, himself a former executive assistant. It's funny, and it's got an edge.
Well, Roger, I didn't care for the picture, and I'll tell you why. First of all, the standard in this genre of the Hollywood film is obviously Robert Altman's The Player. This isn't anywhere in the same league, and I think the faults are these. The script is so much of a piece. This, Kevin Spacey, good actor, has to deliver one insulting humiliation speech after another that go on for a long period of time, and after a while, we're bored by it. You're right, we know it in a second, we know the world in a second. It's boring after a while. Second, the relationship between Michelle Forbes and the young man, I didn't buy that either. I know she wants to manipulate, I thought it was cast almost wrong. If she's so powerful, why the laundromat scene? And obviously we know that the story is going to switch at the end and the victim will become the monster.
Well, we know that because that's in the opening scene.
I understand that.
Yeah.
So I thought that the movie lost it almost at every single level.
Well, you see, what there is truth in everything you say.
Thank you.
And The Player is certainly a much better film.
I'm giving
but what's interesting about this is that it's not a movie about the whole scope of Hollywood. It's about a particular kind of relationship that is common enough out there that people have been through it and can recognize it.
Yeah.
And it's pretty closely observed by this filmmaker who had been through it himself.
I think it's overwritten. If he told me that everything that is in the picture happened to him, I'd still say the picture is overwritten.
Coming up next, we both like Crimson Tide, but there's an even better submarine adventure story available on home video, our video pick of the week. It's next.
If the big ad campaign for Crimson Tide whets your appetite for undersea adventures, our video pick of the week will be of interest. Back in 1981, a subtitled movie came out of Germany that rocked the film world with its high energy and its surprising commercial success. It was Wolfgang Petersen's Das Boot, the story of a German submarine during World War II. The film communicated dynamic action in a claustrophobic space. It also took us into the world of its German hero, a military man completely cut off from Hitler's horror show in Europe.
Keine Wirkung. Anblasen. Anblasen! Vorne anblasen.
Bleib stehen. Yes.
Wolfgang Petersen would go on to a big career in Hollywood, directing In the Line of Fire with Clint Eastwood and Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman. Das Boot, a great entertainment available on home video, our video pick of the week. Now let's recap the movies we reviewed on this show. 2 thumbs up for Crimson Tide with Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman. I like the energy of Tony Scott's direction more than the predictable story. Roger liked the whole thing. 2 thumbs up, way up, for the wonderful children's film A Little Princess, which is also great for parents to see. The film heralds the arrival of a fresh talent, Mexican director Alfonso Cuarón. 2 thumbs up for The Perez Family, a most original pastiche of Cuban refugee life in Florida in the early 1980s. 2 more thumbs up for the charming story The Englishman Who Went Up a Hill but Came Down a Mountain, starring Hugh Grant. And finally, a split vote for the Hollywood black comedy Swimming with Sharks. Roger thought it accurately looked at a microcosm of Hollywood. I thought the whole film was repetitive and overwritten. So the real surprise probably is A Little Princess.
Yeah, that's the one I hope doesn't get away,
Yeah.
and I hope that people who do want to see a smart, intelligent, entertaining film for the whole family that doesn't bore adults have a look at it. That's it for this week. Next week, we'll be back with reviews of more new movies, including Die Hard with a Vengeance, starring Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson battling Mad Bomber Jeremy Irons. Also, Billy Crystal and Deborah Winger are lovers who need to forget Paris. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.
Skin so soft, Sun Care Plus. Waterproof sunscreen, bug repellent, moisturizer in one. You can call your Avon representative or 1-800-4AVON. Remington's Triple Foil, the only shaver with 3 narrow micro screens designed for those hard-to-shave places. If you can grow it, we can shave it. Remington Triple Foil. Finally, a panty that won't go where it shouldn't. A panty that actually stays in place from Fruit of the Loom. Clothes that make you feel good. Jergens Refreshing Body Shampoo for a clean that never felt so good. Squeeze for yourself.